my gosh. That game was a butt clencher. I had no idea Lance was the community manager, by the way, for Red Dojo, besides him being a Kraken fan. But I was wondering if he told them to pick 3 mages into a really beefy bronze army. So that's Howitzer, Gideon, Gadget, into a Richter, Grux, Fang Mao. Like, I was just thinking throughout that game that they would be food, especially if they had built Razorback Gideon. But I don't know. Any major takeaways from that recent match, Cosby and Trix?
Go ahead, Trix.
I mean, yeah, you look at it on paper and you're just like, they're going to get ran down, but that's not what happened. And really the story of the game is, how do you play against 3 Megacosms? You take a long-range Howitzer Q, you take a long-range Gadget Q, you take a long-range Gideon Q, and you're just burning, and you're burning, and you're burning, and they're refreshing it every time. And the damage stacks up so fast. You're seeing Gadget ult on top of Gideon ult. Looking at the damage charts post-game, the support Howitzer dealt the most damage. And that's crazy. And then you're watching it and you're like, oh, like the Grux should just be able to run down the Gadget. She puts down Speed Gate, clears the wave with two abilities, recalls. Grux can't push it back fast enough, and then we're just watching Bronze Army essentially death by 1,000 cuts.
I know. I'm still recovering because I'm a Bronze Army fan. But what do you think Bronze Army could have done better?
Draft better. No shade, but you kind of think of the dynamic between all melee and all range. Basically, the range has the advantage until the melee can catch up, scale into the game.
Yeah.
And if they just have free reign to really win all of their lanes, like all the lanes kind of got outpicked. Like Richter has to really CC himself to get the hook off. So the landmine is really the perfect counter to the Richter, putting him out of position. He's really got no way to get back into position. So I think just individually, the lane matchups just were in a huge favor for Red Dojo. That being said, I think the early skirmishes, Bronze Army did a really good job of playing those. And it wasn't until the first Raptor fight, and a couple of the jungle fights where the mages had some key ults that the game kind of ran away from Bronze Army.
I agree with that. I don't know. Like, I thought they had the lead in the beginning. Like, Bronze Army had like a few kills ahead of Red Dojo, but then they managed to just take the objectives in the game and just start snowballing from there. Like, I was definitely squeezing my butt cheeks right again when I was watching Cha get away from the Howitzer support, and he was just like, he just potted and if you could just see me, I was like out of my seat, just oh my goodness, what a game, what a match. But we have our next match. We have Royalty versus Rogue. Both these teams are super stacked, by the way. On Rogue, we've got Tekken Kid. So this guy like plays a lot of off lane as well. We've got Crashy, Lakeinator, Pinzo. He's a very popular streamer. I'm sure a lot of people know him as well. Haru. And on Team Royalty, we've got North, 6, so 100 Thieves 6, Seismic, Dare, and Province. What do you guys know about anybody in this team?
Well, Pinzo is the best dressed man in all of Predecessor. So the
Hands
fashion
down.
advantage definitely goes to that team.
You look
It's
good,
the
you feel good, you
sunglasses.
play good.
Exactly.
It's the sunglasses. I'm really curious what he looks like without them, but anyways. What about like 6? I know 6 is also a super good jungler. Crashy is a really good jungler. What do you think they would like? How do you think these guys will play against each other?
I think that it's, like you said, both teams are super stacked. Everybody on both teams is really, really good. I think it's going to be down to whichever team can catch the other one slipping first, because both of these teams, they're good enough to know how to snowball an advantage. But also both teams are good enough to know how to actually play behind. So it's really going to be whoever gets the lead and can actually just like run away with the game. I expect a lot of back and forth skirmishes with nobody really dying early. I expect a big objective fight around the 5 to 10 minute mark. And then from there, I expect it to just be high speed brawl 24/7.
Any thoughts, Cosby?
I agree with that. I think the turning point for most of these games that we've seen that were close, that weren't just run away from the beginning, has been the first Fangtooth. Whatever team succeeds in that, with the exception of the one team that stole, it's just every team's kind of ran away from that. So I think we'll see a lot of respect from both sides until the first prime, when there's going to be a sort of boiling point, tension coming to a head. And, whichever team, it really comes down to micro at that point. Whichever team plays that fight is going to take the advantage and hopefully snowball
I
the game.
completely agree with you. But with that being said, I know y'all want to see some games, so take it away, casters.
All right. Geronimo Jack is back, and now I'm with Spooky Mars, and just because we're all in a video chat together, so we all see what's going on, our dog literally was standing out of her seat, bell pepper in hand, covering her mouth as she was chomping away and getting that nice mid-game snack in. How are you doing today, Spooky?
Well, it sounds like I've missed quite the scene, because I was watching gameplay on that one. I didn't get the whole sideshow going on, but now I'm a little bit disappointed. Now I'm going to have to be paying a little bit more attention to what's going on the other sides here.
Not every day you see someone just chomping down on a bell pepper like it's an apple.
I've never seen it, as a matter of fact.
But yeah, so we have the draft ready and going. It's Royalty versus Rogue. This is going to be a very, very exciting game. I'm super looking forward to it.
For sure. I mean, we were talking about it.
Yeah.
And like how close it was. I'm very excited to see exactly how this is going to go down. You were mentioning that you guys have talked about a lot of these players beforehand. Right. As one of the most interesting matches of the day, as Lance was saying in the last game, what are your expectations for it? Do you think it's going to be like an absolute barn burner? Are we looking at 50 minutes here? Or is this one of those games that's so volatile because of how good each team is that a single misplay can just break it wide open?
So the favored team here, in my opinion, is definitely Royalty. They have some of the best players in the community. Hands down, that's it. However, Rogue isn't going to go down without a fight. They're not dumb players. They know how to handle things, and they've played against those people on Royalty frequently enough. We have Penzo in this game, so obviously Penzo's here, and now the stream is donezo. Like, simple as that. But I think it's going to get scrappy. Having gone against Six and Seismic, you're not going to see them, do anything but pressure, push a lead, play just, you would say calculated, but it's not necessarily calculated. It's very just aggressive, and they're there to get whatever advantage they can. In that environment, Rogue may be able to take advantage of the odd misstep if they can pick up on when those happen. But should be a pretty interesting game. Going into the draft now, who do you think the first ban and pick are going to be?
I mean, there's been a lot of talks around this howitzer, so if you're not banning away, most likely going to be seeing that picked up. We've seen a lot of attention being put towards Severog as well. Multiple bans throughout the day going his way. So those are kind of the top two you're looking at. Also Decker, but Royalty decides to ban away this Rampage instead. Kind of puts the ball into Rogue's court here. And now you have to wonder, right? Are they looking at banning any of those top three? Or are they looking at leaving all of them open? So give one away to Royalty and allow two more to be picked up by Rogue. I think in this particular situation, that's the way to go. Don't ban any of the ones that are at the top of the meta. Maybe just ban away something that you know that Royalty is good at. If you don't want to play against Steel, ban that away. Give yourselves a little bit more options to try to counterpick what Royalty goes for here.
Yeah, Rampage is always a priority pick ban because he can just do so much and offers so much flex into a team comp. A lot of players who don't want to really play Rampage that game because he can kind of be that one-trick pony are just going to remove him off the map, and they can just, have whatever options they want from after that. We are seeing the Kalari ban coming out of Rogue, which is quite interesting because I don't know too many people on Royalty who are actually familiar with Kalari. And there is the Howitzer pick. Very, very strong pick. Super strong mid laner. We see him so frequently in all of our games and this tournament.
This Kalari ban feels like they just didn't want to ban away Howitzer or Severog because they wanted to leave both of them open so they could get one or the other. and they
Yeah.
didn't want to limit their own pools. So they're just like, you know what? We're not playing Kalari. Ban that away. Okay, we give up Hauser, Sevarog, Gideon. Easy top 2 for Rogue. They have no problems with this whatsoever. Does leave a few picks up for Royalty as well. I have to see where they're going to go because this is already looking pretty nice for Rogue.
And that's going to be 6 on Crunch. Very, very
There's the Decker.
big comfort pick. 4-6. Repping our big green robot. Decker following up with that one. Very strong pick. Royalty's draft is looking quite powerful right now. And I think the Kalari ban is almost like it's as if it's a disrespect pick, or they're just not worried about who Royalty might even, pick. Okay. So we're hearing from the reduction decks that 6 did so good on Kalari that someone actually just rage quit out entirely. And I don't think Rogue wants to deal with that level of tilt right now.
Yeah, this might be a little bit late in the day to be falling to some tilts. Just get rid of it. Drongo pick. I think that's kind of what we were expecting to see here. Pick up your back line. You've got the Gideon, you've got the Drongo. Still got plenty of time to look for the front line. Bellica is going to be picked up as well. Most likely going to be the support Bellica since they've got Ian online. Although, who knows? Maybe we see something crazy. Jack, if there's one thing I know, it's that I can't actually expect anything that I might normally expect from my games in these tournaments. I've seen Sevarog's mid. I've seen Sevarog go into the jungle as well. I say Bellica's support. Who knows?
I'm not like Narbash isn't the only one who's banging a drum when it comes to Sevarog jungle. I am 100% in that camp. I said it at the group reveal stage, and I will do it again. It's weird. You have to build AD on it, like a mutilator first item, but once you do and you get yourself established, there's so much power and team fight potential with that champion that is wasted when he's just stacking in the off lane. And once you see it, it's just its own ball game. But we are going to see the Feng Mao come out for Royalty. That draft is quite a potent one. There's so much damage, lockdowns to CC and peel for Royalty. Rogue has a pretty good draft in return. They have a lot of peel. They have the Drongo safety with his gag grenade and his ultimate. Bellica's drone, her knockup, and, just the Sevarog all there. But it's the Shimby to round it out. So I think Rogue's draft may have a couple issues here if they're unable to really keep things together, because as strong as Shimby is, she can kind of fall to the wayside, in my opinion, here and there.
It is a very squishy pick, to say the least, right? It's not too hard to go after the Shimby, take her down, and you look at the tools that Royalty has for it. Howitzer with the range, Crunch with the burst, Feng Mao has his executes, his shielding, his mobility. If all else fails, you still got this Revenant as well. Combined with Decker, you have 2 ways to just take people out of a fight or lock them down. There's a lot of flexibility in Royalty's draft. They can either choose to play very aggressively. If that's not working out for them, they can dial it back and they can use those same aggressive tools and just turn it into a defensive point for them. It's so easy to flex between the two with this draft. I think Rogue is really going to struggle to find their ground.
Yeah, that's definitely the case. One of the nice things that you said is, like, you can turn the best defense is often a good offense. The best form of CC is death. So
yes, sir.
You can't defend yourself if you're dead. And that's really the best way to look at it. So if Rogue is able to get those picks off and able to keep things alive and just get ahead, keep that ball rolling, Revenant is the strongest early game carry, also the strongest late game carry. His mid game is just, we say peaks and valleys. His is a cliff. It just goes straight back down. And then at the 25-minute mark, you're watching him climb back up the other side kind of thing, right?
It's the Grand Canyon right there.
It's just the Grand Canyon. That's what you play as Revenant. You really need to get ahead and push that lead so you can get your late game as fast as possible. Otherwise, it's a long climb back up.
We'll say in a setting like this, where you're in full communication with everyone, the Revenant is still relatively useful, even if he does fall behind, simply because of the Shadow Realm, right? If Sevarog is being a problem on Team Rogue, they can just say, okay, guys, on the next fight, Revenant, you just ult Sevarog, and we all in while he's in that realm. If you can turn that into an advantageous fight by just removing a frontliner, Royalty has a lot of things moving for them. That's why their draft is so good. It's so flexible in how they can take each tool and incorporate it differently. If Revenant's ahead, cool. He's playing Assassin. He's going to ult a Squishy, take him out, put him down, 5v4 from here. If he's behind, okay, get rid of that frontliner. Make it easier for the rest of the team who's not behind and allow them to deal their damage. It's just so wide open for them.
Yeah, and like you said, that's a really good point. Once Revenant, all Revenant has to do is just ult the frontliner, and then they have nothing. Royalty still has the damage to be able to get on the rest of the team. Yeah. Losing your carry isn't that big of a deal for them. They have Feng Mao and they have Crunch to just close the gap. They have Howitzer to clean up the kill. Like, they're good to go. But, you know, Rogue still has some of the best players in the game as well. We have Appy Picker, who's just phenomenal. Haru is a strong player as well. And Lakeinator, you can put him almost anywhere and he'll still do well. We are looking at an early invade coming out of Royalty. They mean no business. When we said this game might be scrappy, it might be volatile, this is what I mean. They're looking to get an early lead. They're looking to press it. They get some vision down on the blue buff and they're going to back away. Rogue just going to let them do it. Probably the safest option, in my opinion, but lets them set up.
An eye on Crunch here, though. He's not leaving this jungle. He's still looking for an opportunity to maybe put a little bit of pressure onto Rogue in this early game. He's going to go ahead and drop an early ward. Just make sure that when jungler comes by, he's in the clear for it. I'm going to go back. They're just refusing to allow themselves to be seen right now. They're trying to give away as little information as possible while also gaining as much as they can. As very smart. You can already see how Royalty is trying to play this game. They want to find their advantages early. They want to know where they can play through. And you can expect that they're going to execute that to its fullest.
Yeah, and one of the things when we're talking in draft is, you know, we're talking about team comps, the front line versus the lack of front line. Now, we do see Appy Picker, who is on Team Rogue. He often does like to draft those weird kind of non-traditional team comps, and then his team often makes it work. So that is something to definitely keep in mind. We are not looking any major aggression at this time. Just people trying to farm, get a little bit of poke in where they can. Revenant, you know, just sitting there, getting the obliterate out onto a single target as best to his ability. The stun goes out from the Decker, and that's going to land. But aside from that, pretty slow start. It's set up to be a little volatile right now. People are just trying to get things going. As we see Crunch and Sevarog just trying to scrap it out in the right lane.
Yeah, it's kind of a reverse mirror image on the map here, right? On the right side, you can see Royalty has some good amount of pressure. Crunch has stepped all the way up, but here in the mid lane might be some action.
And that's going to be Gideon having to back up. Lakeinator trying to create some space as the gank comes in, and he's going to be able to stay alive. Doesn't even have to burn his blank. However, will have to use both his potions to create that, you know, just that safety net that he needs. We are seeing the river buffs come up. Lakeinator does manage to secure it. The howitzer mine is going to go out, dropping the landmines as well. He's going to try and portal away. We do see Seismic choosing not to follow up or chase on that one. He's just going to go back to the lane and get those small minion advantages that will build up over time.
And that's really what they need, right? As long as they can get a little bit of a lead and they can start accruing it over time, build it up minute by minute, find themselves with an advantage. However, in the river, there's just constant action happening. Jack, we were talking about it being a scrappy one, and we underlined that with the early invade attempt. And now it feels like they're just trying to bold it as well, put it in italics. They just do not slow down. Across the map, you've just seen these two teams clashing with each other. And while we haven't seen any of the kills come through just yet, you can see exactly where their mindset is. You know how they're wanting to play this, and they're just waiting for that right fight, that little bit of an advantage where they can catch someone out and go full in on it.
That's definitely the case. And I find in the off lane, one of the most interesting matchups is the Crunch versus the Sevarog, because depending on how they play, the game's played out, they almost counter each other. Yeah. You need to play that lane smart, because either one comes out on top, and then the other character is going to have just a bad day. Simple as that. So seeing how that plays out will be really interesting, because North is a very, very, very strong player in this game. Like I said, there's no one on Royalty that is lacking skill whatsoever. All of them can hold their own. But Tekken Kid is also a menace. I don't know if anyone's actually gone against either of these players. You see them, and you're in for a sweaty game, more or less.
Well, hopefully everyone was already prepared for a sweaty game when they signed up for the tournament. If they weren't, newsflash for you, it's gonna be pretty sweaty. You're gonna need a shower after this one. But these river buffs as well just kind of keep shifting between these two teams, and it's all quiet so far, right? Despite all the fighting we've seen, all the little skirmishes, neither team has really been able to find themselves with an advantage, and I think that speaks volumes. Time to your point about how skilled both these teams are. However, this might be the start of things.
Yeah, as we see the Howitzer mine come up, it's both junglers trying to get a pick in the mid lane. Howitzer landmine is going to knock back Lakeinator. However, there is no one there to really take advantage of it just yet. Six did come in, but that was followed up by Crashy being there as well. So they're just going to handshake it, offer a little bit of damage off, and walk away. Looking in the duo lane right now, we are seeing a little more of a scrap fight going through. The gag grenade did go out from Haru, but they aren't able to follow up on it because Decker did drop the cage to allow that peel to prevent the carry from being hit. And there's going to be a Decker stun being thrown out. It's not going to land, but the orbital laser with the big old slow will make sure that hits. And they're now going to start warding and looking for Fangtooth to see if they can get that early game advantage. As we saw in the desk saying that most of these games have been a big swing at the first Fangtooth, and it's been hard for them to recover afterwards.
Royalty is honestly in a pretty good position to start looking for this Fangtooth as well, because in the dual lane, they have pressure. In mid lane, they've been able to find themselves pressure. Now, they may even find themselves a pick. The stun is good. Up into the sky, the ruckus come down, and that's one and done.
That's Howitzer going to drop the Make It Rain, getting the kill. Crashy being caught out in the jungle by 3 as the rest of the team is going to try and follow up. Looking at a tower dive is going to be Seismic, landing the R2000. Big kill going down himself shortly after. They're going to allow that to go. That may have been the small misplay we were looking for as 6 on Fang Mao goes down and the Howitzer goes down, but they were able to trade it, I believe, out a 2 for 2. Yeah, it's a 2 for 2, and really interesting start to the game because they're looking to get that invasion off. They walked in, they got it, but I think they might have overcommitted going into behind the tower, the first tier tower.
Definitely agree. If they had settled for just taking Fang Mao down, that's great for them. They've now opened themselves up to that Fangtooth. They can pull back, go straight to it. Yeah, the dual lane could show up, but it's 2 guys against your 3 or 4. They're probably not going to get very far on that. You can easily just turn on them and kill them at the Fangtooth. Instead, they over-aggress. They step into the lane. They look at that tower line, and sure, you get yourselves an extra kill, but it's cost you the opportunity to go for that Fangtooth. Though I say that, keep an eye on that left side. You can see multiple bodies around there still.
Yeah, and one of the advantages of, like, how am I going to say this? So we got a kill right now. It's going to be 100. That's going to be 6 dropping down the hammer and picking up a nice big kill on the duo lane with Province picking up Pinzo shortly after that, landing that last auto he needs. And now this is the exact play they were looking for not even 30 seconds ago as they run into the Fangtooth, drop the damage. No one's there to answer it. They're just spawning now. Better off just taking the back, resetting, applying whatever pressure they can in the lanes, getting a little bit of farm, and just, taking the L, moving on.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else they can do at that point, right? You've already kind of given up the pressure you had. You're not going to be able to step forward. So what do? You have to find some way to kind of alleviate the lead somewhere else on the map. You have to find what you can. And it's going to be the mini prime on the way of Rogue there. That's a nice little bonus to them. Tekken Kid should be able to pick that one up. I'm assuming it's going to Tekken Kid. However, it may also just go to the jungler as well. We'll see how they decide to do that. Right now, they're able to kind of split the map, and that's what you need to do when you're in this losing position. What I'm interested in seeing is how they leverage that mini prime to try to find themselves an advantage on the other side of the map, because this dual lane is not going to be where they're going to be winning. Haru has to just use the bazooka blast to get out, and that tells you the story of how this dual lane is going.
Yeah, so as you said, the mini prime is the perfect counter objective to losing your first Fangtooth. It applies, you get 200 gold for each player across the board, adding up to 1,000. You get the minion, the actual prime buff itself, which allows you to apply more pressure on the map. They actually gave it to Lakinator, of all people, giving Lakinator that priority he wants to move around the lane, because as we know, there is going to be the Make It Rain. Lakinator having to jump right out with his portal after taking a fair amount of damage. Seismic not letting him do much, or even caring that that buff is there. He's trying to move across. I believe he had to blink out from the mid lane after he's looking at the river. Six was trying to take advantage of the out of position Gideon, and they're just going to go back to doing what they do best: farm, get things going, try and get that pressure off. Lakinator is going to take the back, but I believe the plan here is, because Gideon does not win the 1v1 against a howitzer, and that's going to be them jumping in. Take it away, Spooky.
Yeah, they're not looking for the 1v1, they're looking for the 2v1 over here. If you can't win one, just make it something different that you can win. And I was going to say, I do think that trade did favor Rogue, because they forced out the ultimate from howitzer without giving anything up for themselves. Sure, he used the portal. No biggie, that's on a lower cooldown. That gave them the opportunity to find some aggression, and now they can fully utilize that mini prime. Now they can bring it to that tower and try to get some real advantage going.
And there's going to be a Gideon having to walk back. He's looking for the river buff. Six going to jump in after him, but he gets knocked up just before the engage is able to go off. I believe we are seeing the teams position themselves to get ready for the Fangtooth to go up. It's a little hard on our end. Things are, not the highest resolution at times. POV is what it is, right? Hopefully we'll be able to get the spectator mode out very shortly. But teams applying pressure that they can, setting things up. As you said, that was a very smart pick coming out against, I believe it was Seismic, who ended up being killed in that last mid lane rotation.
Absolutely. Now, trying to find some more pressure on this left side. Take a look at that jungle. You can see two members still in there as well. They want this Fangtooth. They're going to make some plays to try to find it.
And there is a big fight going on the red side jungle as Six and Crashy duke it out. Crashy having to blink, but Seismic is there. Knocks him up into the air and hits him with the R2000, and he's dead. Throwing himself up in the air is going to be the Make It Rain. Hovering, looking for that missile. Seismic not missing anything. Lakinator now scrambling to try and get away.
Wow.
As Seismic is going to reposition himself using his blink. That's going to be another kill. And it's now 7-4 in favor of Royalty. Fangtooth not up quite yet, but it does give them the time to set things up accordingly. They got to go back. They got to buy. They got to just, have that pressure and start inching that lead further and further.
I'm actually very surprised that we didn't just see Royalty send everyone that was just in that fight to the left side and say, okay, guys, we got the kill. Let's tear this tower down while we wait for Fangtooth to respawn. Give them some additional pressure, because it's not just the pressure on the map that you get from that, right? You can think of the minions as a moving ward line. If you can get them pushed up further into that lane, it gives you a better idea of where Rogue is and how close they are to rotating to that Fangtooth. Now, sure, they could come from the mid side, but that's a whole different path that they have to take. You can easily get some pressure down, and if they're taking it from that direction, they're allowing minions to pressure the left side tower. And what is this? Is this Tekken Kid, or is this a street fight over here? Like, what's going on?
Sevarog's supposed to sit back and farm, but it doesn't really matter. He's playing Sevarog, and Sevarog's just always going to have the advantage as the game goes on, so to speak. Crunch likes to get in, likes to be scrappy, has Mutilator as his core item. Yeah, Crunch likes to punch. Mutilator is such a strong item and is the exact item that you need to have against something like a Sevarog. But we now see Seismic walking in, turning the corner, finding one too many people that, for his own liking, he's going to back right up. Crashy on the Shinbi now looking in as Seismic is trying to apply whatever poke and pressure he can. The black hole comes out. It's going to be the Fangtooth. There's the Decker ultimate for the stun. It will land. However, it will be Province going down. 6 now running in, trying to get whatever he can to clean it up and avenge his teammates. He picks up 1, but it won't be enough. The Make It Rain finally going out, going to get a kill on the Gideon, get a kill on the Shinbi. Stun. He goes down before he's able to take Haru out. And now it's Decker versus Bellica. Bellica with no mana and Decker with no health, but such a big cleanup. And I'm not, if you can give me the information on who actually got the Fangtooth there, who is that worth for?
Man, so it does, I believe oh my goodness, it goes to Rogue. And that does make it worth it for Rogue, just because they were a little bit behind when this fight started, right? They were able to make a play, got a couple kills, got themselves the Fangtooth. And if they had dropped that Fangtooth, would have been disastrous, because Royalty stepped into that fight and Seismic just had the absolute positioning that he needed to make that go entirely their way. The fact that he was able to just stay safe and free cast into that pit, it shows the dangers of trying to make that play for Rogue. You step into that pit, it's very easy to lock you down. It's very easy to pump the damage in, just like they're pumping the damage in right now.
And that's going to be 6 going down to Crashy. This game is getting scrappier and scrappier as time goes on. No one wants to just let the other team roll them over, so they're going down fighting in every single team fight, no matter what. As we saw in the last fight in the Fangtooth pit, the positioning on both teams was actually quite well done. Overall, I was surprised to see Crashy and Rogue be able to crash into the pit as well as they did. However, it wasn't without their own losses, right? It was more or less even trade. And then on the other side of the map, Crunch and Sevarog finally getting involved in a team fight, as offlaners often do. 17 minutes into the game, they might actually see a little bit of actions. Oh, hey, I have friends. But they're able to, be a part of it, get their own fight off, and then that follows up and then furthers the lead even more. We're looking 1-1 on Fangtooth. The score is 9-8. We are 17 minutes in the game. This is that it could go anywhere game we were looking at.
And 17 kills in 17 minutes. This is beyond scrappy, Jack. This is a bloody game that we're looking at right now. And neither team really shows any signs of stopping. Every time it looks like they're going to quiet down, they just find a way to pick it right back up. And if you think back how this game started, it was very methodical. It was very slow. The teams were just kind of feeling each other out, trying to get an idea of how aggressive they could be. I'd say at this point, they've figured that part out, and they're just trying to push it as far as they can. Nye out there on the flank, and it is a stun coming through, forced back, though. Cannot stay up there by himself.
We see Penzo and Haru trying to run down the Revenant as they are able to take that T1 finally. Dare to Care walking around, making sure he doesn't get himself out of position, and he's going to be able to provide that extra bit of safety that Revenant is going to need so he doesn't get run down. Lakener now into the left lane as he's trying to apply a little bit of poke. It won't be enough. They won't actually land anything that matters. In the meantime, we did see a kill go in favor of North in the solo lane pop up with just a second there. But looking at CS, the little information that we do see, 155 CS on Province at this point of the game. Good, not good? How do you feel about that?
I'd say it's probably about average. You've got a pretty bloody game in front of you, so some of that time that's normally spent CSing is going to be spent towards those kills. He's not really behind in CS. This is a good rate for him to be at, and he's kind of consistent with his mid laner as well, 166 on that end. You're getting your items online, and really the kills they're not more important, but they're more impactful than they normally would be on a different hunter or ADC, just because of the passive extra gold that he gets from his kills. So you're looking at a lot of gold coming into prominence right now. He's probably feeling pretty good about this. He's probably feeling like he's ready to take on Tekken Kid if he decides to step into this lane.
We actually might
should be around the Fangtooth.
We might see that going on right now as the teams are looking to get that priority on the Fangtooth. It's Crunch North now absorbing the world. The Decker ultimate coming out to try and provide a little bit of peel for him, but it won't be enough as There we go. Yep, and we are seeing Seismic follow up, doing the damage that he can. Crashy picking up North after all, as everyone is now trying to create the space and just get away. 6, very low health. If he stays around a little too long, it won't be enough. That is another 1-for-1 trade on. No, it's going to be a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Rogue as North goes down and Province goes down. Do you think they go for the Fangtooth? Do you think they just try and provide a little bit of space and wait it out? What are the next steps for Royalty after that team fight?
Well, it looks like they're going to go ahead and step back here. I would still like to see them step up to this Fangtooth. Don't let Rogue have it for free, but it doesn't even look like Rogue is actually going for that Fangtooth right now. Instead, they're kind of splitting into this river here, which surprises me because they just want to fight 4 to 3. You should be looking to try to capitalize on that. Granted, Hauser does still have the Make It Rain. The ultimate is available. He can come over the wall with that.
Mm-hmm.
But you just got to force that out at that point, right? You've got the numbers advantage. If you see Seismic go into the sky, you can say, okay, that's enough. Let's drop this and just wait it out. If he tries to land in the middle of your team, you kill him easy, just like Crashy maybe.
Yeah, Crashy getting himself out of position, overextending as the entire side of Royalty is going to collapse on him, and that's going to take the jungler out of the fight as North is the one to pick him up. This gives that advantage Royalty wants, that power play to just walk up onto the Fangtooth. If there's anyone you don't want to die in that situation, that close to the objective, it's the jungler, and that's exactly what happened. They know they can secure it, so they're just going to walk away and let that smite go through. And now to counteract that, it's Haru trying to apply that pressure in the mid lane, but instead it's Pinzo who they catch out. The Obliterate coming out, doing a whole bunch of damage, and then Revenant just clean, blowing the head up right off of the Bellica in a weird kind of counteraction. Usually you see the Bellica just, cocking that gun and blowing that head clean off. This time, no, it's Revenant. Revenant's getting the retribution.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no juking Obliterate. You could try to run, you can try to hide, but once you press that button and gets the lock on, it's good night for Bellica on that one. And this is exactly why it was so dangerous for Rogue not to go for that Fangtooth. They allowed it to stay up, they gave Royalty the opportunity, and it's cost them. Now Royalty's swinging around to this Orb Prime. Rogue has to make a decision. Do they want to try to defend it? They do show up. They do force Royalty away. Orb Prime does a lot of damage. They're not looking for that fight.
Both teams are just trying to get the vision down. Both teams are just trying to get, whatever the information they can to stop the other team from being able to get that objective. Right now, we are looking at, I believe, Royalty is going for the back. So they can just freshen up, get their wards refreshed, get a buy-in, and go back to that prime objective to get the vision out of it and get the priority, so to speak. We are going to see North get hit by the Subjugate. Nice big AoE as Crashy's ultimate is going to go through. It's going to actually not be able to secure the kill. Royalty now is going to answer the call, run in, and see what they can do to avenge the fallen tower as the Decker stun comes in from across the lane, managed to land, follow up on the landmine. Crashy going down once again to Province, and they're going to blink forward, make it rain, going out, applying whatever damage they can. R2000, Seismic hitting the ground, going away. I think that is the prime play that they're looking for.
Crashy now being down means no hunt available for Rogue to try to steal this. They do still have 4 alive. They can still make a play here, but it's going to be dicey. It's going to be risky. See them positioning for it. But can they make this happen?
I think they might have the chance. They were able to drop the ward down. However, Pinzo locking in way too soon on the Bellica and just getting hyper-focused by Royalty. This is the moment where Royalty is going to push their lead as they continue the fight. 6 might go out, but he's able to just blink over the wall using his right click, and here's that moment where Revenant is going to drop the ultimate onto Sevarog. He's gonna die for it, but he may have saved his team. North now trying to fight the Shimby, but he's stepping into the gag grenade, which is Crunch's biggest weakness ever. If you play the champion, you know how much that exact moment is just despised. And now we flip the page. We are back to Rogue having the advantage on the Prime, and they're going to do it. They know 6 is coming in. He's on a ward. They're dropping the black hole to create that pressure, but most of that team has no health. 6 coming in. He's not going to get the smite. He's going to get silenced by the gag grenade, and he's not even able to pick up a kill. That was a nice attempt by 6 to come in and just turn the fight around, give them the advantage that they just lost. However, Rogue is there, and they're going to prevent another disadvantage that they just lost. So now the game, even still, once again, it could be anyone's game, 16-14. The game hasn't left. Spooky, it hasn't left 2 or 3 kills across the board since minute 1.
No, every time it looks like one of these teams finds themselves an advantage, there's just a little bit left in the tank for the other guys. And they step it up, and they force Royalty to pump the brakes. There was a beautiful grenade coming out from Haru there. Is honestly probably saved them the game. If 6 had been able to find that hunt, there's no way that Rogue financially recovers from that loss ever in their life.
Before we get into another fight, while Rogue is pushing in with the Prime buff, that Decker stun, that Kobe Bryant 3-pointer from down lane, actually landing the way it did was just a show of skill, more or less. But we are seeing North come in. He's going to dash straight on to Crashy and Drongo, and Haru has to ultimate away just to live, but it will not be enough as Seismic's going to pick up another kill. Now 7-4. Crashy now dashing in, trying to dash away as Pinzo's using the Galaxy to get away, but it's Decker with the stun again, helping the pickup as 6 is the one to take the Bellica out. On the right side of the map, Tekken Kid doing Sevarog things, running down lane, W King applying whatever pressure he can, and allowing Rogue to just get a little bit of worth out of that mid lane fight. They weren't exactly in the right position. They were trying to do what they could, but it's almost like they're just applying pressure for both sides of the lane instead.
Here's what I don't get, Jack, all right? And we're going to walk through a scenario here, all right? You have just gotten Orb Prime. You're all up. You're all healthy. Oh, wait, Lincolnator is just in the sky with the black hole. We're going to come back to this one because Rogue has finally answered back here. One goes down. It looks like they do get the Fangtooth as well.
So that was a big pickup. This is now Rogue's game to lose as they have both the Prime buff and the Primal Fang. Province doing what he can to stay alive, but it's Lakeinator who's boxing him out. One auto attack is all he needs. He's managed to secure it, and he's going in. That is a big damage push for Rogue. This could actually be Royalty, who is very clearly one of the favorites of our group stage, of this tournament, of the game. Might actually lose right here.
Rogue is still 5 strong. It's going to be a little bit here. They're pushing in. They've got only 2 defenders to contend against. Have the minions just yet. Gonna wait for just a moment. The longer they wait, the more defenders come up for Royalty. Can the Kings hold their throne here, Jack? That's the question.
I don't know. I'm always down to clown, and you know what? Say, screw the bourgeoisie. Let's get the underdog story going. It's always a good time. We'll see how it plays out as Royalty has lost all 3 inhibitors in a single push. They're doing what they can to stay alive. The minion wave coming in. Black hole going down, applying the damage that he can. Lakeinator in the sky. Seismic dropping the
still alive!
They're very low. They're pushing them out of the base. Pinzo is donezo. He's the one to die. However, it doesn't matter. 0 minions in base as... Oh my God!
It's still alive! It's not over yet, Jack! He wasn't able to do it! Tekken Kid couldn't get the last damage off! What is happening?
That's a 1% core, no minion base. The Sevarog doing whatever he can to squeak out the 30 damage he needs, but it's not enough. The king still stands. Mutiny not complete. We are still in this despite all odds.
We are in it for now, but it is so low. Like you said, this is a 1% health core. I mean, Royalty can't go anywhere. They can't afford to step out with the current situation. If they leave the minions alone, their waves are going to die. and their core is going to die to the enemy minions. If they put too much pressure on the minions, okay, well, what about the Orb Prime? What about the Fangtooth? What about the potential of Rogue just simply walking in and saying, hey, that's a nice non-existent health bar your core has. What if we just hit it a single time? They don't even have to hit it, man. They can just walk up and sneeze on it, and the core is just going to explode.
I was just about to say the exact same thing. You could breathe on that funny, look at it wrong, hurt its feelings, and it's going down. We've now hit official gong show territory for this game as we're 30 minutes in, 23-21. Both teams
they are
only 100 CS away from each other, so gold is even across the board no matter what, as they're all hitting level 18 as well. Royalty needs to play this game perfectly. One misstep, they are gone. Seismic applying pressure in the mid lane as best he can to try and stop that big triple inhib super minion wave from crashing in the base. They need to do this right. Prime is spawning in a second, and that's Rogue's biggest objective. Once they grab that, they can use that push to just run down the lane. If they get a pick in the meantime, Spooky, that's it. That's done. The game is done so.
Here's the thing. The minions are super close, but the structures are all in Rogue's favor. They don't have to start a fight here. They can wait it out.
They are!
Rogue is not having that. They're going on in. Make it rain. Make the damage burn. Province finds one, and they have to find another.
And that's going to be Lakeinator trying to get out as best he can. Seismic now out of position. He has no ability. He's got to drop the stasis gem. He might go down. Six trying to dash in, use the ultimate at range, will not land it. He has to burn the ability to get under the tower, but we're now 2 for 2. Even now in these team fights, it's always even trade. Six going for the orange buff. It won't be enough as the gag grenade and the subject go down. Take out the jungler. It is Crunch and Decker versus the world. It's massive minion waves pushing in. All they need to do now is finish it off. The core's managed to heal just a little bit, but Crunch isn't known for clearing waves. Subjugate goes down. It's going to miss as Sevarog comes in to tank the tower. Bellica's drone there to try and apply a little bit of pressure and sap the mana from the Crunch. One of the biggest things that Crunch actually needs. He's going to back up. The Decker stun and cage comes out. The cooldowns are there. It doesn't matter. They're just going straight for the inhibitor and the Nexus, the core. And that is it. The king is dead. The head has been chopped off. Let them eat cake. It's Rogue with the victory and the underdog story complete.
Man, what an absolute game. Incredibly close. And really, it felt like Royalty were in the driver's seat for a good portion of this game, Jack. I mean, throughout the early game to the mid game, they were applying great pressure in duo. They were applying that pressure in the mid lane. And they were constantly turning that into opportunities to start looking for those objectives. But after every single objective, Rogue has proven your point about them both being excellent teams. Royalty gets the Fangtooth. Rogue goes for Mini Prime. Royalty goes for another Fangtooth. No, we're going to meet you there. We're going to fight over this one. And it's just this constant back and forth. But the big shift was constantly the structures going down. It was always Royalty losing their towers, losing their tier 2 towers. And over time, that was the gold lead that was accruing for Rogue to give them the advantages that they needed in every fight until finally they will take it home.
I genuinely think that is going to be one of the best games of Predecessor we will see this year. Simple as that. That is a finals worthy game, and we haven't even gotten out of the groups yet. We're not even at the main event. That was absolutely insane. We gave Royalty, personally, I gave Royalty so much credit, but once you started looking at Rogue again, those players are still good at what they do. They know what to do, and they're not afraid of some of the best players in the game, also being some of the best players themselves. However, just absolutely mind-boggling game. Now, I know Lance is off on the side, but Lance has to be a little jealous, Spooky, because he let me cast this. He willingly gave that up. I know he has no hair right now, but he has even less after that decision.
I mean, we don't have to call him out like that. I mean, he's wearing a hat to hide it right now. You're just calling him out. Look, it's not that he doesn't have hair. It's just all on his face.
I love you, Lance. and thank you for letting me be a part of this. I'm going to just get off this stream tonight happy. I don't need to cast it. I'm retiring. That's it.
Oh, wow. There you have it, folks. This is the last you'll see of Geronimo Jack.
You can't actually get rid of me, Spooky. Once you know who I am, I never actually go away. It's
So this is a lie. You're not retiring. You just lied.
No, I'm not actually retiring. Even if I did retire, I'd still just be there.
This man.
I'm a liar. How dare? Someone lied on the internet? Anyways, we're going to go to a quick break, and then we're going to continue the excitement. This isn't done yet. Oh, okay. Actually, first, we're going to go to the desk. It's going to be our dog, Trix and Cosby. Once again, they'll take it away. They'll break a few things down. Thanks for joining in.
What an absolute crazy game.
Oh my gosh. Team Rogue, Tekken Kid on that Sevarog, Gideon on that Lakeinator. Lakeinator on that Gideon, Crashy, Pinzo, Haru. I am just at loss for words right now. The thing with both these teams is that they're both so good. We know like almost all of them. They're both stacked. The kills were back and forth, objectives back and forth, tower here, another one there. Fangtooth goes to Royalty, Fangtooth goes to Rogue. Cosby, please, what are your thoughts right now? What is going on through your head?
I'm still trying to process what I saw that game. That was a bloodbath. That was that was awesome. That's all I have to say. I loved every second of that game. I mean, I don't even want to analyze it right now. I'm still just in shock. That was like Jack said, I think the best game that we'll see all year. It was incredible.
Yeah, that's actually those are some big words from Jack, actually, to say that this is the best game he's seen and will be the best game he has casted the whole year. We're pretty early into 2023, right? What are your thoughts, Trix? How are you doing?
I mean, yeah, that game was just crazy. It went, pretty much according to our predictions, just all gas, no brakes. I think the big story was, Royalty was setting the pace. They were making the first punch, and then Rogue was just taking it, and they were saying, okay, here's a counter. You killed someone, and then you got a little greedy, chased a little too far. All right, you got one kill, we get two. Oh, now you got 2 kills, but you're going to Fangtooth low health. Here's a Lakeinator ult on top of you. Thanks for the free Fang. And it was just back and forth. If you look at the end of the game, no towers on Royalty side. Rogue is missing 1 or 2 T1s the whole game. Kills are even, but the map tells a very different story.
Yeah, I really agree with that. What I'm actually super surprised about, one of the things I want to talk about with this match though is Crashy on that Shinbi pick. We know Kalari got banned. We know Rampage got banned. I feel like he would have played some other jungler, maybe Chimera, maybe Steel. What do you guys think about the Shinbi pick against Six's Fang Mao? Cosby.
Well, I would say looking at it play out in the game, I couldn't really think of a good way that they wanted to utilize the pick other than as a direct counter to Team Royalty's first pick in Howitzer. Coming from the jungle with some other junglers already banned in the game, you want some sort of dive to get on her or get onto Howitzer and actually kill him when he ults away. I think the Shinbi ult is strategically, it fills that niche, but
yeah.
I didn't really see it playing out like that in the game. Crashy had some unfortunate positioning around some objectives, but other than that, I didn't really feel the impact of that. And I do agree with you that maybe some other frontline jungler would have been a better pick for them. But in the end, who needs a jungler when you could just dive the core?
That's right. What do you think, Trix?
Yeah, I'm personally not a big fan of Shinbi jungle. Her clear speed is pretty fast, but early game we saw Six exerting a lot more pressure across the map. The big strength, I think, of Shinbi is her ability to clear waves, clear camps, and be very, very slippery. We saw Crashy attempting some of that, with her double dash. She's very hard to catch. He was attempting to exert that pressure, but he got caught out a couple times. I think they kind of made a mid-match adjustment and had him group up more, and that's when they started to see a lot more success.
Yeah, I agree with both of you. It would have been like it's just like I just can't wrap my head around this whole match right now. I'm still in the middle of processing it. But I do want to talk about Tekken Kid on that Severog, just W keying down that
Unit.
off lane, right? Like what do you think about that?
It's hard to
Tricks.
stop him. It's hard to stop him. Once he gets going, it's just, we saw some scraps early, trading some stuff back and forth. The crunch really strong early, but like once Severog starts to get those items online, really starts to stack up, it's hard for Crunch to stop him. We saw Crunch go Mutilator into the Tainted Bastion, really trying to stand on his own against it, blocking out that magic damage, getting that flat damage reduction. But just Tekken Kid holding W in the lane, walking into team fights. I'm the big boy. You land 6 Qs on a carry's head, and there's not much that they can do about it.
He's just like this beefy dude, just right up in your face. Shout out to Tekken Kid. What a Severog. What do you think, Cosby?
We really haven't seen any good answers for the Sev off lane yet today. There's been, that's kind of the standout pick to me so far. That and the Howitzer. Howitzer popped off this game. Didn't pick up the dub, but those are the two picks to me that have been the standout in the tournament so far. Really, no team has strategized a good way to shut these two picks down.
Yeah, Severog is either getting banned or he's either getting played in the matches. So once you get that tainted guard, I feel like you can just deal a lot of damage with that Severog play. Any other thoughts about that match, Cosby?
I do have to give a shout out to Rogue on some really timely calls. They noticed their opportunities. That game was never really strong 5v5s. All the team fights kind of seemed like two skirmishes happening on different parts of the map, but they recognized their ability to get the OP, to make the right calls towards the end of focusing the core. Their first push was so close. That game could have been over 3 minutes earlier, and they made the right call to just focus it, but maybe it was 1 second too late. But I think whatever was going on, they didn't fall. They didn't tilt when they fell behind, and in the end, the strong shot calling is what I think won them the game.
Yeah. What do you think, Trix? What stood out to you during that match?
Yeah, it's definitely just a strong shot calling, way to stay level-headed by Rogue. It's really easy to get tilted, to, maybe get a little upset, start making some sketchy plays, but they stayed level-headed, they stayed composed. Like I said, they were letting Royalty dictate the pace, and then they were coming back, give an inch, take a mile kind of thing. And it was just Royalty, kind of, trying to win the game a little too fast. You get a kill, you want to get an objective, but maybe next time you just get the kill, you take the kill, you reset, you reestablish vision, and then move on with the gold advantage rather than the player advantage.
All right. Thanks, Trix and Cosby. Thanks, everybody. Let's go ahead and take a break.